Welcome to the Saints Happy Hour podcast, featuring Dave Cariello, Andrew Juge, Ralph Malbrough, and, when he decides to show up, Kevin Held. We are the perfect blend of Saint sincerity and stupidity.
Gets out on the field and is doing like weird thumb stretches and on national television and looking like a goddamn weirdo. This guy is not... Got way too excited there. This guy's not going anywhere.
People in your house again that you don't know who they are?
Yeah.
And now, here's your host, Ralph Malbrough.
All right, everybody, welcome to the LSU Happy Hour. What a fantastic Saturday afternoon. In the 10 years that we've been doing this LSU podcast, Saturday might have been the greatest day ever.
And
Andrew,
we went straight into Monday.
Yep.
We went straight from Saturday to Monday.
what are you
By the
talking?
way,
What are you talking about?
nothing-
They had some.
nothing-
They had something yesterday. Did they have something yesterday?
I don't know. Did you guys go to church? I went to church.
I flew into New Orleans to see my family, to spend quality time with my brother. I went to the
Check
new
out the airport.
I went to the new airport. The new airport itself is nice. Everything else is fucking disaster. You know, the traffic, the
Oh
baggage.
God.
I had no issues getting in or getting out.
I think it's a total crapshoot as far as like just what time you go, when you go, what the
Yeah,
airport
I mean, I
schedule
know
is
people
like.
have had problems. Maybe I got lucky, but I had no issues whatsoever.
It was weird yesterday. I didn't have, Saturday's such a big day because you have LSU all the time. Yesterday, I didn't have anything to do. It was weird. Me and my brother were like, what are we going to do?
It's too bad New Orleans doesn't have a football team.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
it's not a lie if you believe it.
All right, I want to lie to myself, but before we get to...
Wait, I just want to say nothing gets me more amped to do an hour-long podcast than Andrew's dad saying, "Go get 'em, boys," and spelling "go" Geaux.
Woo! But before we get to Kevin telling us about one of our fantastic sponsors, Blue Chew, I want to wish Dave a happy birthday.
Happy
thank you.
birthday
Yep.
to you. Happy birthday to you.
What is
Happy
this?
birthday, dear wonderful person that's having a birthday today.
What is this from?
Happy birthday to you.
I found one of them
Sounded
custom
gross.
birthday greetings. But I didn't have enough. The podcast doesn't have enough money to actually have them say your name.
I was going to say
that's just the
wasn't
generic
custom.
one. But we have a big announcement later in the show that will explain where we spend all the podcast money. It's for the live show. It's exciting. But Kevin, tell the people about Blue Chew.
I mean,
Well,
you're gonna need Blue Chew to get excited after that happy birthday singing.
I mean, Dave may need Blue Chew later.
I'm
So,
gonna need Blue Chew after
Dave.
yesterday. Jesus.
Hey, Dave,
Yes.
I know you're 38, so do you remember the days when you were always ready to go?
I do remember them. It was yesterday.
When you had a full head of hair?
That was a long time. That was like
When you were
11
just
years ago.
when you were just a burgeoning T-shirt empire? When you'd only sampled the fancy hot dogs in New Orleans? Before you really branched out and expanded your palate?
To Dat Dog?
Well, anywho, you can now increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed, Dave. Listen up. BlueChew.com, Dave. That's blue like the color blue. Blue Chew is the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So you know they work, Dave. You can take it anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they'll work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Like, say, right when you get off the phone of this podcast. If you could benefit from extra function and more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance, Dave. You know, most guys will talk a good game, like Juge, but Blue Chew will help your follow-through. Blue Chew is prescribed online and shipped straight to your door in a discreet package. So there's no in-persons, doctor's visits, no waiting in a pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness.
Dave is familiar with discrete packages.
Well, actually, I think Dave's wife is familiar with discreet packages. They're made in the US of A. And since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, it's cheaper than going to a pharmacy. Right now, we got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment for free. When you use our special promo code ARMCHAIR, you're just going to pay $5 in shipping. Again, that's Blue Chew, BlueChew.com, promo code ARMCHAIR to try it for free. Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice. Dave likes munching on them like candy, and we thank them for sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dave, make sure you don't confuse the Blue Chews with your peanut M&M stash.
Well, now a couple of things. Now, first of all, I'm really not a peanut M&M fan, so that's not going to happen.
Whoa!
Second of all,
take.
Second of all, I mean, I got to say, it's been 38 years. It took me 38 years, but I think that's it. I think I can die now. I have joined this very small elite club of people that have had
Mile High Club?
No, that have had personalized Blue Chew ads written for them and about them. I mean, that has got to be a small minority. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Bucket list,
Thank
check.
You. Done. Knocked it off.
Yesterday.
Let's
Ralph is like, I don't even know where to. I don't even know.
I don't even know.
Well, let's talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the great game that he had.
We're not even going to talk about the Saints.
Wait, talk about what?
Oh,
Who?
wait, who?
What? The New Orleans has a football team because they weren't anywhere in the city limits yesterday. For goddamn.
No,
sure.
he said something about the Saints. He must be talking about church on Sunday.
Well, the Pope.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Talking about the Pope's tweet from a couple of weeks ago. Remember that?
Like I picked the wrong week.
So how are we feeling about Joe Burrow? He winning the Heisman? Tis to lose now, right?
Yeah, he's going to go to the Jets now, apparently.
Kevin, are you burying a body somewhere?
No. I'm just getting some ice. I'm just getting some ice prepared for a nice cold beverage.
Here.
Oh, my God.
Breaking news.
Kevin's getting a drink.
We have breaking news, Andrew. The Saints just got
out for the year.
No, the Saints just got called for hands to the face again.
Drew Brees just got sacked again.
I mean, seriously, what the fuck
got
was
sacked,
that?
And they hit him in the face with their hands, and there's no flag.
I mean, I'll start with you, Kevin. Where does yesterday rank on the Saintsy scale? That was Saints to the max, whatever that was.
I called this happening like weeks ago. I said Bridgewater was going to go into. The only mistake I made is that Bridgewater didn't play the Cardinals game. But I said the Saintsiest thing ever would be for them to go 6-0 with Teddy Bridgewater, and then Drew comes back and they lose at home to the one-win Falcons. I actually called this.
You did. I just like. Is it because Sean Payton got engaged, and once you get engaged,
Dump Skylene.
People, the post game show, Bobby and Christian Garrett, they were mad as fuck about people on Twitter blaming the engagement. The post game show.
No, seriously.
You guys were at the game. You saw them showing her. They showed her on the big screen. Like they did a public. You saw that, right? You guys were there in your seats.
Yeah, but the best part, the best.
She was not happy about that at all. She was like, at first she was trying. That like the camera focused on her for a good 30 seconds. And I know like you might be at home or in your car right now saying like, 30 seconds, that's not a long time. No, 30 seconds is a long time
The best
to be on the big screen in the Superdome. And for the first like 20 seconds of that, she was like ignoring it. She was like trying to pretend like it wasn't happening, like a kid.
Well, that's
that, like,
why it stayed on her. That's why it stayed on her. She wouldn't wave.
Yeah, right. It was very bizarre. Like, I think the cameraman was like, "Does she know that I have this camera on her and that she's on the big screen?" Like she was like one of those kids where like you feel like you put your hands over your eyes and you feel like nobody can see you anymore.
Yeah, the best part of that though, Dave,
it's just gonna go away. And then finally, at like the very end, she like kind of gave like a little wave and she was like, "Okay." She was not happy.
The best part
I guarantee you that That cameraman spent the better part of Monday packing his belongings into a small cardboard box.
Did y'all notice Vince Vaughn behind her waving?
Yeah, I did see that. Vince Vaughn had more personality.
Yeah.
But seriously,
was that Vince Vaughn?
Yes.
How dare Sean Payton have a personal life?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Jesus.
What an asshole. What a fucking asshole.
I mean, his life is entertaining us and making sure the Saints have a good balance of run and pass. And instead, he was doing engagement type shit and trying to have a life outside of football. And that's not. Do you think Bill Belichick would have got engaged during the football season?
No chance.
No chance.
Look, the NFL doesn't fucking give bye weeks to NFL teams so their fucking coaches can go get engaged, okay? The fucking bye weeks are to prepare for your next opponent and for your team to get healthy and take a break, okay?
Well, he didn't even do it on the bye week. He did it 2 nights before the game.
No, what, they got engaged like over the weekend, no?
Yes, on Friday, and the game was Sunday.
Kevin, is Sean Payton getting engaged? Is it more disrespectful to football than Bountygate in 2012?
One, Bountygate is a load of shit, and frankly, everybody affiliated with that can go, die in a fire. 2, him getting engaged doesn't have a goddamn thing to do with players getting called for hands to the face or the referees ignoring a couple of holding calls in the third quarter that led to the Falcons scoring again. Actually, it was early in the fourth. I apologize. I'm looking at the box score now. They didn't score in the third quarter. I'm stunned by that. This team shit the bed publicly on national television. This wasn't some regional broadcast game. I looked at the fucking map. Most of the map of the continental United States was watching the 1-7 Falcons against the 7-1 Saints. And most of the country watched the 1-7 Falcons absolutely fucking pants the New Orleans Saints at home. They watched the 1-7 Falcons hold the New Orleans Saints to under 10 points for the first time at home in the Drew Brees era. Ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was there.
Ever.
Yeah, I hate your audio so hard.
Thanks for making me relive it. Appreciate it.
I hate your audio so hard.
They gave Alvin Kamara 4 fucking carries. 4.
He's prepared. He's got stats and shit. I'm confused now.
Kevin, you watched the game, it sounds like.
How about them Tigers?
This team barely ran the ball. They couldn't do jack shit running it. And Atlanta ran the ball fucking 34 times. Atlanta was 50-50 passing and running. They were running the ball up and down on the Saints. It was fucking ridiculous. The lone bright spot in that entire shit-tastic game yesterday was Michael Thomas catching 13 passes for $150. Mike Thomas being the fastest player to get to 400 total receptions. Meanwhile, Ted fucking Ginn, fastest player to 400 drops. This fucking weekend was set up perfectly. It was set up perfectly. You had the Tigers You had the fucking Tigers going in Tuscaloosa and winning. You had the fucking Pelicans who were here fucking winning.
Woo!
Every other good thing that could have been happening in sports for the city and the region, it was happening. All that you just needed, the big fucking scoop of ice cream on top of the fucking cake. Nope, it was a scoop of shit. That's what got dumped on it. Big scoop of shit. Y'all, the fucking Saints and Payton, y'all fucking ruined Dave's birthday. You ruined Dave's birthday.
Step away from the Blue Chew.
Dave was looking forward to snacking on candy and having the missus go to town on him with that Manscaped lawnmower gimmick. And you fucking ruined it, guys.
All right. Well, look.
All right, we're in bizarro world because
Step away from the Blue Chew. Step away from the Blue Chew.
For his birthday.
Look.
No, either. You fucked him.
This is true. You did ruin my birthday, but I got to the game yesterday. I know Andrew and Ralph, y'all were there too. You went to the game. I got there, 15 minutes early. I like to get there early. I like to watch the pregame festivities. I like to watch the tunnel team. I like to make sure the tunnel team does their job. And for the most part, they do a good job. There might be a couple of bad apples on that tunnel team.
Tunnel team sounds like the worst
porn name ever. Yeah,
or the
gay
best.
Porn.
Tunnel team. Tunnel team 6.
Anyway, but yeah, props to most of the people in the tunnel team, with a notable exception maybe. But and I think I remember putting up on the screen on the jumbotron, it said the Saints have not allowed Seattle Seahawks just picked off a Niners pass and they're running it back. All right, Seahawks are in this game. But anyway, they showed a stat that said the Saints have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in like 31 games. And now they didn't allow a 100-yard rusher to Atlanta, but Atlanta came out and ran on like 6 out of the first 7 plays and were running all over the Saints. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, did the Falcons not see the fucking stat that they just put up on the Jumbotron? They should really look at that stat because you're not supposed to be running it, but they were running it and they were running successfully. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, this is going to be a long fucking. I mean, if they're attacking our strength and finding success attacking where we're normally good at, then we're in big trouble. And that's exactly what happened. And they didn't give up a 100-yard rusher, but they gave up 143 total yards rushing, and it was surprising. It was just very surprising and very frustrating. And I'm surprised that actually now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sitting here wondering how Dan Quinn was so smart to know that he should run, but maybe he's an idiot and he was like, he doesn't look at the stats. He didn't realize how good the Saints were against the run, and he just decided to run anyway, and he just wound up getting lucky. He's like the Kramer of football coaches. He just got lucky. He said, "Oh yeah, we're just going to run against it. Oh, they're the best run. They're really good against run defense. That's all right. We'll run it anyway."
Here's my question, Andrew. What's more shocking? The fact that the Atlanta came into the game with 7 sacks on the year. They had 6 against the Saints. Is that more surprising, or is it more surprising the fact that Kevin did the most show prep for tonight?
Well, Kevin doing show prep, coming in with stats, football facts. I mean, that's like an outer body experience. Like, has he just blacked out? Like, he's probably laying on his couch right now, blacked out, passed out, and he's gonna wake up in like 10 seconds and not remember anything, and just say what happened. He's not gonna remember saying any of those stats. But so that's most shocking, But Atlanta, I gotta say this, like, I'm surprised they're 1-7. They played a great game. I mean, Matt Ryan, we love to rip on the guy, but he's a former MVP. And Julio Jones is Julio Jones, and Devontae Freeman's kind of had a rough year, but he's a guy that knows how to play, and their defensive line, I mean, they got a lot of names. And I'm surprised that they've been so bad. That Tack McKinley and Vic Beasley and Grady Jarrett, like that they haven't gotten those guys going at all this year has been a big surprise to me. So this is the team I always thought Atlanta could be, and maybe not like competing for first place, but certainly 5-4, 6-3.
They've turned it around. They're going 5-11.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised they've been this bad this year. Like
they've lost a lot of
all season. Like they're a capable roster. I really believe that.
I mean,
Seahawks just scored. They're now up 14-10.
Oh, might be a decent.
Did
Might be
Russell
a
Wilson
decent
throw the touchdown?
Yes, to Hollister.
Yes.
Hollister made a great one-handed grab. He pulled it in and held it against his face mask for the catch.
Well, I mean, the thing that was, all of it was just stunning to me. I should have just, when my alarm went off at 5 to catch the 6:30 flight to New Orleans, I should have just pulled it out the wall and gone back to sleep. But I mean, it was all so stunning. But I guess the thing that was the most stunning to me is that Atlanta came into the day 31st against the pass, and their secondary was a fucking dumpster fire. Like, they couldn't line up. They were blowing coverages, people running wide open. They covered the Saints fantastic, and
no, that's because our wide receivers, other than Michael Thomas, suck.
Well, that's my next point. Has that? Are y'all as disappointed as me now that we didn't get AJ Green, even though he's hurt? I mean,
you had Ted. I'm hoping that this was just a sort of converging of bad days for everybody, all on the same day. I mean, you had Traquan dropped at least one pass.
That was on Breeze.
All right. Well, you want to blame that on Breeze? That's fine.
Yes.
That's fair. You had Ginn who was looking. Ralph, I read your column and you noted this. I mean, he was looking more like his Panthers days.
You got the full Ted Ginn. Well, you didn't get the full Ted Ginn because full Ted Ginn,
he would have got you a touchdown.
He gets you a touchdown and 2 drops. That's the full Ted Ginn. He didn't even give you the full Ted Ginn.
No, we did get the full Ted Ginn, but just not the full Ted Ginn.
You got glass half empty Ted Ginn.
Yeah, we got the full Carolina Panthers Ted Ginn. So he just, we just didn't really get that much help. So, one of the sacks I remember very vividly, one of the sacks that Drew took, he had Kamara in the flat, but Kamara tripped. He was like the second or third read, and Kamara tripped when he was looking at him, and he was kind of like the last guy.
He would have scored there too. He was wild.
Yeah, and Kamara was kind of like the last guy in the progression. And by the time Drew got to him, Kamara had tripped by himself in the open field, and so Drew had to look away. And
Drew kind of sucked, man.
No.
I mean, I know he had no time. He was getting hit. Receivers weren't getting open, but. Plenty of blame to go around.
He's like 28th in QBR. I know it's a small sample size because he's only played 4 games, but he's not good.
Breeze?
Yeah, I mean he's.
Yeah. Let's start it. Let's start the Breezes.
Well, no.
That's it. He's fully Teddy Bridgewater.
Breeze is going to be fine. Breeze is going to be fine. But the only thing that annoyed me about this game is that if Bridgewater had played the exact same game that Drew just played, Saints Twitter would have been burning him to the ground.
That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
No, but my point isn't that you bench Breeze or anything. I just think the same issues that people complained about with Bridgewater are happening with Breeze. And so I think this offense, when Teddy would hold on the ball, we would get 8 screenshots of dudes where they were open and Teddy should have thrown the pass. When Breeze does it, people blame the receivers. I just think a lot of the same issues that they had under Bridgewater, they have under Breeze. And this offense, Dave, we think of the Saints as this high-powered offensive juggernaut, but they're fucking 16th in points. Like they're just kind of average on offense. And I just think,
I think that's putting it. I mean, what are they in yards? I would guess they're worse than that in yards.
yeah,
I mean, you've got to remember, we won a lot of these games with Bridgewater because of the defense. We won very low-scoring games. We weren't putting up 30, 40 points. We were putting up 20 at the most.
Even in Seattle, like we got a defensive touchdown and a special teams touchdown, right?
Yeah, and I mean, and Andrew and I have both touched on this before. I mean, this was the same kind of issues the offense had at the end of last season. They weren't lighting it up. They had red zone issues, which we saw on yesterday. Obviously, 3 field goals. That means you're
third down. Remember how bad they were in third down last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's just and that was when they had Drew at quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater wasn't playing any snaps.
They haven't been as bad
the quarterback.
On third
it's
down
the offense. Correct, but against
the Falcons they were bad on third.
Well,
down.
yeah, and I think the overall
and the penalties were back. The penalties were back.
Well, I mean,
on offense and defense.
Yeah, and some of it was bullshit. I mean, for sure there was the one I tweeted it. The one they called offsides on the Saints, and it was clearly false start on the Falcons. But yeah, I mean, it's just this is not a quarterback issue. This is definitely an offensive issue, and probably even more directly to the point, it's probably an issue with your offensive line. When the offensive line plays well, your quarterback has time. Everybody, everything just works out well. But when your offensive line plays like shit, and I think we would probably all agree the offensive line played like shit yesterday.
Awful.
Yeah, and it makes everything that much more difficult.
Here's a question that I have about the offensive line, Andrew. We say that it's great and it's the strength of the team, and that's true, and it can play really well. The Saints have played 9 games, and I can make the argument that their offensive line has been either dog shit, poor, or bad in 3 of them. They were bad against the Rams. Now I know maybe Drew Brees going out had something to do with that. They were bad against Dallas, but the defense was lights out, so they won. And they were horrible yesterday. That's a third of their games where they haven't been good. And we talk about this offensive line as a strength. So, like, where do you? What's your opinion of them? Just past the halfway point of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there were just 3 games where surprisingly they didn't do well. And, in one of them, I remember something was wrong with Teron Armstead's knee and he didn't practice all week, and then he played and he looked awful. This week he was sick on Friday. I don't know what was up with him.
He looked awful at the end of the game. That dude looked like he had walking pneumonia, and I thought I thought he was going to collapse on the field. Like, he was struggling to get to the line when they were running the hurry-up offense. Like, Sean Payton.
He was done.
Sean Payton's like, I don't want to blame the flu. I'm like, he had the fucking flu? And I'm like, well, not good.
Wait, is that Sean Payton said he had the flu?
Yeah, Sean Payton, like, I don't want to blame the flu. You can't blame the flu because he played, but, I was like, he had the flu? God damn.
Well, he shouldn't have been playing then. But, so, yeah, that's part of it. You need your star left tackle to be playing like he normally does. So I think that was a big thing. But look, I think Sean Payton deserves some. I mean, Kevin said it earlier. 4 carries for Kamara. That's just ridiculous. Like, either he's good to go or he's not. But if he's not, then pound Latavius Murray like you have been, because that's been working, and that's what the Saints should have been doing in this game. But 52 passes, 11 runs. That was the balance, run-pass balance that they had. I mean, 52 to 11, and so when you have a guy like Will Clapp, who has been, and I mean, I was really hard on him in the player grades, and I gave him an F, but it's kind of unfair to him because he played center a couple weeks ago, like he had to be thrown in there, and then this whole week he's been prepared as a jumbo tight end. That's been his role for the team this week, and that's what he practiced all week. And Andres Pete goes down, and all of a sudden it's, hey, Clapp, go play left guard, and oh, by the way, we're throwing every play. That's not really fair to him. He hasn't played the position. He goes in there, and he's got to pass block every play. And, if he had played well, then I would have been excited. I would have said, man, if he can do well in that situation, maybe he's got a future in this league. But I think it's kind of unfair to rip on him too hard because he hasn't even had the luxury of, all right, you're getting a week of preparation at left guard. This is what we're going to do. And, these are your weaknesses. We're going to mitigate those by doing this. And these are your strengths, and we're going to play to those. I mean, there was none of that. He was just thrown in, and he had to pass block every play. So how much of that is on Sean Payton?
Well, I think
Sean Payton's awesome. I'm not even trying to say, he should be fired or anything like that. Of course not. But,
Skylene should be fired.
Well, but sometimes, even the best have bad days. And I just think the coaching was bad. I mean, the Saints laid an egg, and you know what? The Patriots, lost to the Dolphins last year, and I think it was Alan Ulrich on Twitter. He reminded me that 2011 was his favorite Saints team, and they lost to the 0-8 Rams that year. So it happens. It's the NFL.
The 2009 Saints blew a 14-point fourth quarter lead to the 2-win Bucks. I mean,
yeah.
But
look, sometimes it's one of those things where sometimes you have a clunker, and I think maybe psychologically, look, the way the game unfolded, Atlanta got momentum on their first two drives, and they started to believe, and the Saints offense stumbled out of the gates, and so the way the game unfolded early, it just didn't set the Saints up for success. And I think the bottom line is they've been drinking the Kool-Aid. They were 7-1, 5-0 with Teddy. And the Falcons are coming into town, into the Dome, and everyone expects a blowout. And maybe a little complacency from the players. We did all this with Teddy, and now Drew's back. So it should be even easier now. So, credit Atlanta. They came in and they kicked the shit out of the Saints.
Upside, Dan Quinn gets another year. But the one thing I was going to say about the Saints running the ball, the one thing I was going to say about the Saints.
That's the way to look at the silver lining, Ralph.
Yeah. They're gonna go 6-10, and they're gonna be like, we turned the corner. We went 5-3 in the second half of the year. We got momentum. We'll keep him. But I think the Saints. The plan was they thought they could roast Atlanta's secondary, which isn't a bad plan considering how bad they were. But I think the game really swung in the second half. You look at it. It's 13-9. Atlanta, they get a penalty, so they get to keep a drive alive. It gets to 20-9. The Saints get the ball back on the kickoff, but they're moving. They run Taysom Hill for 11. They run Kamara for 6. They complete a long pass, but it's holding. And instead of 1st and 10 on the Falcons side of the field, it's it's 1st and 20. It wrecks the whole drive. They have to punt. Atlanta goes down, gets another field goal. It's 23-9 with 6 minutes to go. Running the ball at that point is fucking dunzo. So I think even though I agree with you that the plan was bad, Andrew, and they didn't adjust, it just got away from them in those two drives, and it was done. It was just over real quick to run the ball. The other thing though, Dave, is
that's bullshit. I agree with you that the script got flipped on them, but 2 drives in, you could still be running the ball. You don't need to be giving up on the run.
Well, no, but once it got to be 23-9, though, they kind of had to because the clock was against them.
That was late in the game, though.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think they were thinking about running the ball. But the holding penalty just killed them on that 13-9, that 20-9 drive, and then, after they didn't score there, it was done. But it's just, I want to talk. I noticed something.
It was even worse when I rewatched the game. I knew the Saints played terrible, and I knew that it was just a bad game. But when I actually went and analyzed every play. It was shocking how bad they played. Shocking.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard in my life, Tom.
Yes. Wait, well, you guys...
why didn't you just give everybody an F, Andrew, for your grades? Why'd you have to rewatch it?
So you guys got to go to the game, so you were there, so you got the full fan experience. So I wanted to make a couple of comments, but before I do that, Seahawks are now up 21-10.
Russell Wilson touchdown?
No, it was a Chris Carson touchdown. But it's looking very good for the Seahawks, beating the Niners, and then we'll have no more undefeated teams in the league. But a couple
86 Dolphins pop the champagne.
They're getting it ready as we speak.
How many of the 86 the 72 Dolphins are still alive?
But you guys went to the game, and y'all were talking about Will Clapp. So for those of you guys who don't have the pleasure of going to the games, they have a new tradition now where when Will Clapp goes in as eligible, they'll play they'll either everybody clap your hands. They'll either do that one, or they'll do the we'll make them clap. We'll make them clap. So it's kind of interesting. And what's really crazy is that, like, whoever is in charge of playing that when he comes in, dude, they're on top of it. As soon as he is checking in for the play before they even huddle
Not
up.
like me with the sound effects here. They're on top of it.
No, it is Bizarro Ralph Malbrow who is running the show at the Saints game. I mean, they must have like somebody who's dedicated to sitting there in the booth and just keeping eyes on Will Clapp and just checking every time he goes in as the sixth down lineman.
The intern has an intern.
They must have an intern who's looking at that, because that dude is on it. The second he's running out there on the field as a tackle eligible, they are doing one of those two sound bites. And also,
that's why people listen to this podcast for information like that. We're on it.
No, seriously. And then I don't know if Zach Strief has ever mentioned it on the radio broadcast, because I don't ever listen to the radio broadcast. But also, Will Clapp is 64, and so when he comes out and the refs announce it, they're now back to saying, and the Saints have been using him pretty darn regularly. At least they were this week against the.
I can promise you, Zach Strief is aware of that.
No, I know he's aware of it, but I just wonder if he's mentioned another thing. But so now they're back to saying.
I can promise you, he has.
So they're now back to regularly saying the refs are regularly saying 64 is eligible. Number 64 is eligible. So we're back to hearing that like we used to hear all the time when Zach used to come in as another down lineman.
I wonder if they'll throw it to Will Clapp in the red zone at some point.
And really catch it, unlike Zach Strief.
I bet it'll go better than throwing it to Ted Ginn.
Both of those outcomes are the same. So
zing. I noticed something yesterday, and you guys can tell me if you think it's complete bullshit, but Kamara's body language at times yesterday looked off. Now, I don't know if that's because he's hurt and he's frustrated, or he's frustrated because he doesn't know what the Saints, how they want to use him. But Kamara is, the fourth year is technically the contract year, but really this year is his contract year, and he's been banged up, and the Saints aren't using him. Like, he's got to put up numbers to get paid. Did he look frustrated to you more so than normal yesterday? Because he did to me. Yes? No?
I didn't really notice that.
No. So, guess not. I mean,
he didn't run. He wasn't as usual. Well, I mean, he had some pretty nice catch and runs.
Yeah, I don't know.
He hasn't been.
He misses his boo.
It's been a while.
Mark Ingram.
Well, he was making some great. Seattle. He had that great run, but he hasn't seemed to have been. Earlier in the season, he had he was his normal self, but he hasn't seemed to be his normal self the last few
Dave,
weeks.
If you wanted to have better than your normal self below the belt, what should you use?
What a segue.
What a segue. Yeah. Well, look, support for Armchair and for our podcast comes from Manscaped, who is number one in the men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Now it says I'm not supposed to read this, but I'm supposed to tell you about a time where I really came close and I hurt my balls while manscaping, or I'm supposed to give you a funny manscaping story. Well, my mom listens to this podcast, so I'm not going to give you that story. But what I will tell you is that that's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer and redefined it. Same, you know, same powerful.
You're really tearing this up.
I'm killing it. Their lawnmower 2.0. That means they had the 1.0, they redesigned it, and they came out with the 2.0. The lawnmower 2.0 has proprietary skin-safe technology, and that's in capital letters, capital S, capital T. That means it's the real deal. Skin-safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick or snag your nuts. Manscaping accidents are finally a thing of the past. So don't use the same trimmer on your face as you're using on your balls. That's nasty. Yes, I know. It's nasty. Manscaped also has the Crop Preserver, which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. I sprayed some of that. The Crop Preserver. No, I used, what's the spray? I used the spray. I don't think that's the moisturizer. I used like it's basically just like, not deodorant. It's like potpourri for your balls. Perfume was the word I was looking for there. But they've got the Crop
Potpourri
Preserver,
sounds so much fancier.
Which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. You already put deodorant on your armpits, so why are you not putting deodorant on your balls, which is even smellier than your armpits? And right now, you can get 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code armchair at manscaped.com. So always use the right tools for the job. Your balls will thank you. So remember, get 20% off and free shipping when you use code armchair at Manscaped. That's 20% off when you use code armchair.
So it's looking good for the Saints with Seattle winning, as Dave gave us broken news.
Now in the fourth quarter, still 21-10, Seattle beating San Francisco 49ers.
You know,
fourth quarter.
It would have been a just glorious football weekend, one of the best ever if the Saints had managed to do what they were supposed to do and win as a fucking 12.5-point favorite. But Andrew, you sent me a Bill Barnwell tweet during the LSU game that I want you to tell the people about because it is related to the Saints and Nick Saban. Do you remember that tweet you sent me?
Oh, God. It was something about how the last time Nick Saban had given up 30 points and a half in the first half, I think that's what it was, over 30 points in the first half, was in 1999 when he was the head coach of Michigan State and they played Purdue. And the quarterback at that time was Drew Brees.
Love it.
Drew Brees is always
always
screwing over Nick Saban.
How many
my mind exploded when I heard that, when I read that.
And that was like 99 was like, that's like freshman Drew Brees, right? Like,
yeah,
right?
Probably. I mean,
yeah.
I was a freshman in college in '99.
I was a senior in high school.
But
and a freshman in college. Actually,
I mean, the Saints, it's a total just shit show of a performance. And like I said in the morning news today, the Saints played as bad as Eric Poulsen sounded with his head cold this morning.
I saw Sheba talking about that.
He was sounding rough. He was struggling in the breaks, man. I don't know if they were giving him tea or whatever, but he was fighting through it. But the secondary is going to be without Marshawn Lattimore for at least a little bit of time. Andrew,
you don't know that he could play this week.
I was gonna say, are we gonna miss Ken Crawley? Are we gonna wish the Saints had not cut him? But let's say Lattimore doesn't play. What are the Saints gonna do in the secondary, you think?
Well, I mean, we kind of saw it, so I think
And it
PJ
wasn't pretty.
Yeah, well, actually, I gotta say, PJ Williams and Eli Apple, like they weren't great, but they competed, man. I thought they played okay. But Eli Apple and PJ Williams would be your starters, and so CJ Gardner Johnson would get a full-time role at nickel. So, those are the three guys. I mean, PJ and Eli Apple already play most of the snaps anyway, but the big difference would just be more snaps for Gardner Johnson and PJ Williams playing the outside. So, that makes things more difficult when you're going up against Mike Evans and Godwin this week. All of a sudden, that Tampa matchup, if you're going without Lattimore, feels a lot dicier. It's a much tougher defensive assignment if you go in there without Lattimore, who, by the way, held Mike Evans to 0 catches last time they played him.
Yeah,
So.
Lattimore takes it like personal with Mike Evans. They don't like each other, and Lattimore. Not that he doesn't get motivated for other big stars, but he really gets motivated for Evans. But we got some.
I want to thank Lattimore for keeping me from embarrassing myself and crying at the Saints game, because at the Dome, they did one of those surprise reunions with the soldier, where they surprised the family with one of their relatives who was away in the Mideast or whatever. And it was getting really emotional there for me for a minute as I was watching all this unfold on the Jumbotron, and I'm starting to get a little teary-eyed. And then the next play, they might have even started running the play before they even finished the bit on the Jumbotron, but the next play, Lattimore lays out Julio in the flat and just stopped me from crying and getting emotional and brought me back to earth. And made me realize that I was at a Falcons-Saints game, and that fuck the Falcons, and America can wait.
We got some interesting questions from people. This is from Alfredo. And by the way, people, sign up for the daily podcast. Full access starts at $7, but Patreon has some really cool stuff now where we have been able to create our own merchandise. So if you sign up at the $10 level, you get a sticker. If you sign up at the $25 level, you get a mug, you get a T-shirt, you get a magnet, you get a sticker, you get a koozie. Like, we have the Swag King level. Like, sign up, and it's the stuff. You sign up for 3 months, you get all this cool stuff. So it's amazing. So do it. Alfredo asks, Andrew, why with only one trustworthy wide receiver does Sean not trust the running game more?
No, I mean, we just talked about that, and I do think it was a bad game for Sean Payton. I thought his coaching performance in that one was probably his worst of the season. But I think it was difficult in the sense that Atlanta's opening drive, I mean, it's the way it unfolded. Atlanta's opening drive, they milk like 7 minutes off the clock, they get a field goal. And the Saints go back, they answer 3-all. And then Atlanta milks a ton of clock again. That's that drive where there was all those freaking penalties. And it seemed like it was third down. They stop them, and there's a flag. I mean, that happened like 4 times on that drive. So then it's, 10-3, and then the Saints have a bad drive where Breeze misses Traquan. And then from there, like, it's just hard. And I think they really wanted to establish the run game, but they were also, I think, stuck in this, like, Alvin just came back. We want him on a pitch count. We want to make sure Latavius Murray gets his touches because we don't want him to be phased out with Alvin back. So that was complicating things. But I also just think when Will Clapp moved to left guard, half the playbook went out because the Saints like to run out of that jumbo set, and I think that probably a lot of their game plan was to run out of that set. And when Will Clapp had to go to left guard, that he couldn't play jumbo tight end anymore. So half the playbook, and I think a lot of the running plays, were out the window.
That's a good point, Andrew. It kind of reminded me, now that I think of it, a little bit like the NFC Championship, where Ben Watson had the appendicitis and he couldn't go, Josh Hill gets a concussion, and then, oh, by the way, the Saints are down 2 tight ends, can't run tight ends, can't seal the edge against the Rams, and the plan to, probe the Rams on the edges where they're weakest was out the window. And it just happens like that. Dave, this is an interesting question from
Ralph,
Daniel.
by the way, you need to get the clap sound effects. You need to get the. We'll make them clap.
We'll make it clap.
Also, update: Niners scored a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to pull within 3 points now in the fourth quarter. Seahawks still winning 21-18.
This is from Daniel, Dave. Has the NFL figured out Kamara like they have Sean McVay?
I mean, come on. He has like one mediocre bad game.
He's just coming back from an ankle injury.
Yeah, and the entire league hasn't figured out. That's play the jump to conclusion soundbite. This right here is where we play the jump to conclusion soundbite because Daniel, our loyal listener, I love you, Daniel, but you're jumping to some fucking conclusions.
Look, hold on. I realized that we lost to the Falcons. It was embarrassing. I was there in person. I flew down for it. I mean, I'm disgusted.
Honestly, you may be the reason why they suck so bad.
Oh, he was repping. You were repping the Happy Hour podcast T-shirt at the game too.
I was. Well, they've been undefeated when I wear it. The only game I didn't wear that shirt was the Rams game this year. But anyway.
I think Sunday was my fault. The last two games my brother and me have attended is the Patriots in 2017 and yesterday.
Well, it's important to remember this team is 7-2. Like they have everything to play for, and we don't know how it goes from here. There's reasons to be concerned, but they're 7-2.
Yeah, and look, we've seen him for 8 games. The one thing that just was
7 + 2 is 9 actually.
Was just inexplicable is their inability to get pass rush against Atlanta. I mean, at least with the offensive line, you could be like, well, Clapp got hurt and Sean Payton abandoned the run and they got behind. So, you have all these maybe reasons. The defensive line, like, what the fuck? Like, they didn't get close to Matt Ryan. What did you see from them, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Jordan especially. I just how did he get stonewalled like that?
He was on McGarry Island. Some Falcon fans were joking.
Yeah,
just made me want to
vomit. I thought Davenport was bad. I thought he couldn't keep his containment. I'm worried about Sheldon Rankins because that's like 3 or 4 weeks now that we just haven't seen anything from him.
I mean, he's not going to be. If he's going to give you anything this year, it ain't happening until December. Like, it's just not. Like, and that's to me, that's best case scenario. He blew up that Achilles in January. Like, that's a year injury. And even Okafor, when he did it in 2017. He did it in the Washington game, which was like, what was that game? I want to say 8 or 9.
It was like the midway point.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I just think Rankins, like, you can't expect too much of him. And also Onyemata he had 2 penalties of hands to the face yesterday.
I thought he played pretty well, minus the penalties. I mean, that's what are you going to do about that?
So now we go to. Oh, and by the way, people in the live stream can see it because it scrolls at the bottom of the screen. We have a live show, December 14th. Tracey's on Magazine. RSVP at the link of the podcast. Wherever you get this show, you can find it, or go to our Twitter page. Go to our Twitter page, a profile page, or a Facebook. We have them there, and RSVP. And if you RSVP, you get a free shirt, which will be personally handed to you by.
We're live.
So do that. 101 people have RSVP'd. Do it. You get a shirt. Dave's gonna cook up a fantastic Saints Happy Hour podcast shirt. You want it? Do it. Sign up. You get a shirt. Watch us.
I don't know how we'll screw up our audio live, but I'm sure we'll find a way.
Oh, the live audio is just
You
going to
could be-
be it's going to be
You
like
could
a
in the
19.
room. You could be in the room with us, and we're still going to make it so it sounds terrible.
It's going to it's going to be like it's going to sound like a Huey Long stump speech from 1928. That's what it's gonna sound like. So I think they haven't been having any complaints in the chat tonight about the live stream audio. They had a little bit of Andrew and Kevin lost his mind, but that's just because Kevin was screaming into his phone like a lunatic. You know.
My audio's fine now, right?
Yeah, your audio's fine. Thanksgiving. Fredo says, "I want Thanksgiving vengeance." So. The Saints go to Tampa. They are a 5-point favorite at Tampa, the 3-6 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Dave, who do you have? Are the Saints going to rebound?
Oh yeah, the Saints are totally gonna. If the Saints turn around and lose another division game, it might be time to sound the alarms and start panicking. Then the Dave Cariello panic meter, like you guys like to say,
shall return.
It's going to go from green to yellow real quick.
We'll need a sound effect for that too.
It's hard for me to really believe myself when I say that the Saints should be able to take care of business, because I felt that way this past week and that didn't happen. So I'm having trust issues now, but I'm going to say it anyway. I mean, this should be an easy game for the Saints. It should be an easy win. They've got Jameis Winston. The guys on Pardon My Take like to comment on Jameis Winston's small hand size. He's got small hands, and that makes him a bad quarterback. So I'm going to say, what's the weather going to be like in Florida? It should be pretty mild, huh? Are they getting this cold weather that we're getting tomorrow? It might be a little cold. I'm going to say Saints. I'm going to say Saints 31, Buccaneers 21.
High of 75 and cloudy, no rain
beautiful.
on
Beautiful.
Sunday.
I have
Tampa.
71. That's beautiful football weather right there. Yeah, it's perfect. So I'll say Saints 31, Bucks 21, and player of the game. You know what? It'll be Alvin Kamara's coming back party. Welcome back, Alvin. Have yourself a day. Here's 150 plus total yards, rushing, receiving, and 2 touchdowns.
So, Andrew, now that the Saints have lost,
am I allowed to pick them to win now?
Yes, you can make an actual pick instead of just picking against them every single week.
Oh, it was working so well, too.
Garoppolo just got pile drived into the ground.
Yeah, I do think the Saints are going to win this game, and I think the key for me is they're going to have to get off to a good start. But reminder again that Tampa has the worst pass defense in the league, 32nd overall, and if the Saints are going to win this game, they're going to have to throw the football. I mean, remember Teddy Bridgewater threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Lit
against
that
the
shit
second.
up.
Yeah, he lit them up. So that was Teddy Bridgewater's kind of hallmark game in that 5-game stretch, and he was able to have a lot of success throwing the ball. In fact, not only did Bridgewater throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara both completed passes on the Tampa Bay secondary also. Bottom line, Breeze is going to have to play well, but I think Breeze is going to be sharp in this game. I think he's going to go on the road in Tampa, play well, and hopefully Jameis Winston he'll have one of those games where he kind of goes on a turnover binge.
Yeah, they were like, Jameis Winston played well. He only had 1 interception.
Wait. So what if the Saints lose this game? Drew Brees doesn't play well. He doesn't play nearly as well as Teddy Bridgewater played against Tampa Bay. So now you've got 2 straight losses for Drew. You've got a 1-to-1 comparison for Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater playing the same defense.
Yeah,
And
but
you have,
home and road, man, that's a big difference.
I mean,
so you're okay. Okay, so let's take that into account. So basically, you're telling me the difference between Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater is just who's playing home and who's playing away. I mean, you're
No,
telling me.
I think the difference is Breeze is a way better quarterback.
I'll tell you this though.
But what if
It,
Breeze plays like shit against
if
Tampa Bay?
Breeze plays like if Breeze plays like shit and they lose to Tampa and Carolina, everything's on the table then because
Oh yeah, there we
because
go.
you know
There we go.
then the Dave Cariello panic meter.
I don't think the Dave Carriel panic reader has a reading that high.
No,
I need
it
maybe I
stops
need
at
like a
red.
guy.
It doesn't go to magenta.
So people in the chat room, you need to suggest a sound effect. Do I need like a Geiger counter sound effect for the panic meter? What do I need? What sound effect do I need for the panic meter? I'm gonna say, look, the Saints are gonna win Sunday, but I think it's gonna be bumpy for a half, and I think all the stuff that we were joking about should they play Bridgewater, this. I think it's going to be really percolating starting the third quarter, but then Breeze is going to come out and be like, "I'm fucking Drew Brees," and he's going to throw 2 touchdowns in the second half.
No, I mean, why are you guys like? This was one game. They're still
Yeah.
7-2. Like, you guys don't think Breeze is going to be so pissed off?
Oh, I
and
totally do. I just think
studying like a madman. Sean Payton is going to be pulling double time, game planning this game. I mean, there's no way. I mean, maybe they won't play well, but there's no way they're not going to be prepared.
no,
They're going to work their
I think
ass
they're going
off
to.
this
I
week.
think they're going to play well. I just think the Saints, all their analytics, if you look at their analytics, the analytics for the Saints say they are a 5-4 football team. They're not. They're 7-2, and I don't think they're a 500 football team. I think they're better than that. But I do think they have some issues on offense that I think it'll be. I just think it's going to be a bumpy first half in Tampa. Kind of like what it was, Andrew. Kind of like last year when they played in Tampa. It was kind of bumpy. Taysom Hill blocked the punt. Then they got moving. Mark Ingram got rolling. And they won by a couple touchdowns, and it was fine. Like that's how it's going to be. It's just it's going to be a little bit bumpy for the first half. I'm going to say Drew Brees is going to be MVP. He's going to throw 2 second half touchdowns and look great, and everything's going to be back on track. And oh, by the way, it's 21-20.
I think the Saints are going to light them up. I really do. I think you're wrong. I think the Saints are going to be pissed off. They're going to win 38-24. It might be 2 touchdowns, but like the offense is going to be rolling all game.
It's gonna be like is it gonna be like the Bears game where it's like the final score, even though it's double digits, doesn't convey the ass stomping that was put to Tampa? Is it gonna be like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just think this offensive line is good, and even Will Clapp. Like I think with a full week to prepare, he'd be fine. And I think Sean Payton is going to challenge those guys. He is going to be playing that game for them and saying, Teron, Larry Warford, McCoy, I want you guys to watch these plays. I want you to watch how freaking terrible you were against one of the worst defenses in the league. And I want you to be embarrassed. And I want you to remember this when you go into Tampa and go hit someone in the mouth. I mean, he's an expert motivator. He's going to use this to make sure he gets the best out of his players this week. I have zero doubt.
No, I think that's true, and I mean, you just look at NFL. Like Bill Barnwell did a column of all the NFL elite teams. He broke down all their clunker games, and I just think you're gonna have a shitty game, and you're gonna lose. Every team has it every year, and the Saints. It just sucks extra hard because it's Atlanta. If it would have been like in a couple of weeks, and it would have been like Tennessee. We'd be like, it's Tennessee, whatever. But Atlanta, their fans are such trash human beings, and we have to interact with them. So it just makes it that much more difficult to take. I
unfollowed the Falcoholic. I'll probably wait to follow them again. I'll wait to see how they're doing on Sunday. If they start losing, then I'll refollow.
Yeah, my dream of them hiring Mike McCarthy took a hit yesterday. And that's the saddest part of this of all. So listen, thanks to everybody in the chat room. sign up for the daily podcast. Me and Andrew, you get his grades if you sign up at the 10 level, and we get the daily one. We had LSU podcast, we had the gambling podcast, we had the game preview. You get all kinds of great stuff. It's only fucking $7 a month. Do it. And since Kevin had to drop out of the podcast early, guys, should we do the announcement without him, or we'll wait till next week?
No, just do it.
Okay. So people ask me, Ralph, what do you do with the Patreon money that we donate? And I said, well, we bought the new computer. Andrew has a bad gambling problem this year. He's losing his ass off, so money goes to that. Money goes to
my wife.
But we took a chunk of the money, and we were like, we got to have the whole crew for the live show. So we took a chunk of the money. We took a chunk of our money and the Manscaped ball money, combined them, and we are flying Kevin Held from St. Louis to New Orleans. Kevin Held is going to be at the live show. He is flying out Saturday morning. He's going to get there in the afternoon. He's going to be at the fucking live show December 14th. More reason to go, because we're all four of us going to be in the same room for the first time ever. Ever.
I've never met Kevin in person.
So, I mean, if that's not reason enough, this breaking news that I'm giving you where we're all four in the same room, if that's not reason enough to show up and get a free t-shirt, I don't know why you're listening to this show now, to be honest. But anyway, we are super excited about the live show, so please sign up. RSVP. It's going to be amazing. The Saints are going to get back on track. It sucked losing to those trash human beings, the Atlanta Falcons. But we got through it. It was fine. So, for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, I'm Ralph. Thanks for everybody in the live stream. Until next week, the bar is closed.